and having, all these people just being mean to me for no reason when I was just a young girl, trying to live my life.
Yeah.
It was extremely difficult, but I'm grateful today for these new young artists that they don't have to experience what
Everyone thought Paris Hilton had finally found her forever. The fairy tale wedding, the perfect husband, the glamorous life. But now, whispers from inside her inner circle suggest that everything we saw might have been nothing more than a beautiful illusion. Behind the luxury, the smiles, and the carefully curated photos, something has been quietly breaking. Paris and Carter's love story didn't start with a whirlwind romance, it started with timing. For more than a decade, they floated in the same elite Hollywood circles, brushing past each other at parties, charity galas, and private events. Two powerful people, living two completely different lives, never realizing how close they were to colliding. But in 2019, something shifted. The casual hellos turned into late-night conversations. The small talk turned into deep connection. And suddenly, the man who had always been in the background stepped into Paris Hilton's world in a very real way. By 2021, Carter was no longer just a familiar face, he was down on one knee on a private island, asking Paris to spend forever with him. And when they finally said, "I do," on November 11th, surrounded by diamonds, chandeliers, and the eyes of the world, it looked like destiny had finally won. But what no one realized was that this fairy tale was already carrying the weight of two very different lives about to collide. The moment Paris became Mrs. Reum, her life didn't slow down, it exploded. Cameras followed every step, fans analyzed every post. Suddenly, their marriage wasn't just a relationship, it was a brand. Paris thrived in that spotlight. It was the world she had survived in since she was a teenager. But for Carter, that same spotlight felt suffocating. Reports claim he wanted a quieter life, more private moments, fewer headlines. Behind closed doors, even small things became emotional landmines. What could be posted? What should stay private? How much of their family was fair game for the internet? Paris saw sharing as connection. Carter saw it as exposure. And every disagreement over a photo, a caption, or a moment with their kids slowly turned into something deeper. When Phoenix and London entered the world, Paris and Carter looked like the definition of modern fairy tale parents. Soft lighting, designer nurseries, perfect family photos. But insiders say what you don't see on Instagram tells a very different story. Raising children under non-stop public attention isn't as magical as it looks. Every decision becomes a debate. Every moment becomes content. And that pressure doesn't just affect the kids, it hits the marriage too. Rumors suggest Carter has struggled with how exposed their family life has become, while Paris feels deeply connected to sharing her journey with the fans who supported her for decades. Friends claim even things like who picks out the kids' outfits or what moments get posted online have turned into quiet arguments. And while the cameras only capture smiles, the tension behind the scenes keeps building. Then there's Nikki Hilton, the sister who's always been Paris's quiet protector. From the outside, Nikki's role looks loving and supportive. But behind the scenes, some insiders say her presence may be adding another complicated layer to an already fragile marriage. It's been said that Nikki often steps in with advice, emotional support, and guidance whenever Paris feels overwhelmed. And while that comes from love, it can blur boundaries in a marriage that's already under pressure. Rumors suggest Carter sometimes feels like he's not just married to Paris, but navigating a powerful family dynamic that never truly steps back. When decisions about the kids, public appearances, or even emotional conflicts arise, Nikki's voice is often there too. Not to cause drama, but to protect her sister. Still, that triangle of loyalty, marriage, and family can quietly build resentment. For Paris and Carter, love wasn't the only balancing act. Careers loomed large, demanding attention, time, and energy. Paris's empire, fashion lines, fragrances, her socialite legacy, never sleeps. Every event, every collaboration, every campaign needs her presence. And Carter, once comfortably private, suddenly found himself pulled into a world where work, life, and marriage all collided under public scrutiny. Reports claim this tension is ongoing. Carter allegedly struggles with Paris prioritizing brand obligations over family time, while Paris feels driven to maintain the empire that defines her identity. Friends say it's a constant tug of war. Dinner plans delayed for meetings, family trips shortened for appearances, moments meant for love overshadowed by obligations. And in a world where every choice is amplified online, what could have been compromise quickly turns into conflict. And now, the whispers that have fans buzzing online. Rumors suggest that Paris and Carter may be approaching a breaking point, a moment where love, exhaustion, and expectation could collide with irreversible consequences. Unverified reports claim that tensions over privacy, career, and family life have escalated into long, silent standoffs and emotional distance that friends say is palpable. Some speculate that Carter has even begun questioning the future of their marriage, though nothing is confirmed. Paris, fiercely independent and used to defining her own narrative, reportedly refuses to compromise her voice, online or offline. And while the public only sees the curated snapshots of bliss, behind closed doors, the pressure is mounting. Every disagreement, every misaligned expectation, and every tiny misunderstanding now threatens to tip the balance, leaving fans wondering, could this fairy tale really end in heartbreak? In the end, what happens between Paris and Carter isn't just about arguments or Instagram posts, it's about two worlds colliding. The public sees the glitz, the luxury, the curated perfection. But the private reality is far more complicated. Love tangled with expectation, devotion shadowed by exhaustion, and two people struggling to protect themselves while protecting a life they built together. Friends say that even when affection returns, it's shadowed by unspoken frustrations. Every smile has a weight, every gesture a history. And for Paris, whose entire life has been lived in the spotlight, this may be one of her toughest roles yet, not as a socialite, not as a brand, but as a woman trying to balance identity, family, and love. The question now isn't just whether the marriage will survive, it's what legacy it will leave. A cautionary tale about love under the microscope. A story of resilience and compromise. Or perhaps a reminder that even fairy tales can carry hidden cracks beneath their sparkle. One thing is certain, everyone watching, online and offline, is waiting for the next chapter. And no matter what happens, Paris Hilton's story, love, drama, and all, will be talked about for years to come.